Yeah, I love your setup. It looks great.
Mhm.
It's amazing. It's like you got the space back, you know? Once you change the lights, you get the space back.
Mhm.
Hi, folks. Ariel Baruch at Sierracast TV studio, and today we going to interview the Tracey Hamadi. She's a kidney health advocate. She has been a patient. She underwent through a lot of different transitions in her life. She had essentially battling with kidney disease since 2008. She had a number of situations where she ended up having a kidney transplant, and then 7 years later she had to go again back on dialysis. And today we're very happy to have her. She would like to introduce us and explain us and tell us more about kidney disease, what causes it, how it happens, and what are the options available for people who um, don't feel well, and they may not even realize that the kidney may be involved in this situation. So please welcome Trace Hamadi.
Thank you very much, Ariel. It's a pleasure to be here. I have been on dialysis since 2008. Um, it was unexpected, even though that I knew that my kidneys were failing, but I was dealing with the death of my husband, so everything else took a back burner. I had small children, and then a year after he passed away, I started getting pains in my stomach, and then I got rushed to the hospital, and I found out that I had kidney cancer as well as end stage renal failure. So before they could remove the kidney that had the tumor, I had to undergo dialysis. I knew
Mhm.
of dialysis, but I did not really. I never knew what the machine looked like. I didn't know anything. So I just remember I have a vivid um, memory of being wheeled down into the dialysis room. The doors open, and I just started crying. I did two treatments before I had the surgery. They removed the kidney with the cancer. Luckily, it was first stage renal failure, so I didn't have to undergo chemo therapy. After that, I started doing in-center dialysis, and about a year after that, the doctor told me about a I could do hemodialysis at home using the machine next stage. I trained for about 2 or 3 weeks. I took it home, but I was still battling health issues. I was in and out of the hospital, so he told me that I had to go back to in-center. Um, Doing dialysis in center, for most people, it does wreak havoc on your body because somebody compared the machines at the center. They're like Maseratis, like they operate very fast. The blood is taken out
Mhm.
of your body quickly. It gets filtered and goes back into your body. So that does wreak havoc on your body. So I did this for 7 years. I got tired of being sick and tired, because the only thing that I did was if I wasn't in my bed, I was at dialysis, and if I wasn't at dialysis, I was in the hospital. I had, like I said, that I had other health issues. My son at the time, he was 23 years old, and he said, "Well, mommy, why don't I get tested to see if I am a match?" He would have done it earlier, but I just felt that he was too young. Um, and I just didn't want to go that route. But
Mhm.
I got to the point where I went to him and I'm just like, you still want to do it. He wasn't an exact match for me. So
Mhm.
what they did, they found a woman who was an exact match from my son, and her husband was an exact match for me. So we did the exchange.
Hmm.
The kidney lasted 7 years. It was I got my life back because when I was on dialysis the first time, that I really wasn't able to do anything, and my children were young. When the father passed away, they were 7, 9, and 18. My son was getting ready to go to college, so I pushed myself to do teacher parent
Hmm.
conferences. I lost a lot of weight. I went down from a size like 18 to a size 2 because dialysis, you lose your appetite, you lose taste of food. Like I didn't enjoy it, and then I was tired. I just didn't have the energy to like cook nor eat. It could be like days before I was like, oh, I didn't eat. And then everything was fine. I knew in 2018, I received my kidney transplant in 2013. So in 2018, I knew that my function was decreasing, and I do have a disease called FSGS. I have a hard time pronouncing it. It's focal segmental glomerulolysis, ISIS. And the doctor said that it was attacking the transplanted kidney, so it was just a matter of time. But in April of 2020, I was getting pains in my stomach again to the point where I couldn't. It was worse than the first time. Come to find out that I had a bowel obstruction, and that surgery, they had to remove part of my intestines, and that procedure knocked out all of the remaining function of my kidney, and I was back on dialysis. But luckily for me, Tableau, and I affectionately call her Tammy with an IE, um, it was just approved from the FDA. So my doctor said that, what, would you want to be considered using it? And I was like, yes. And fortunate for me, I was the first person in the United States to take Tableau home. So I've been using Tableau for about almost a year now. Come like the middle of April will be my first year anniversary using Tableau.
And you compared tablet to in your other video, you compared tablet to Volkswagen versus driving Maserati that they have
Yes,
in the
yes,
hospital.
exactly. It's a lot. Yes, it's a lot slower, gentler on your body. Um, I am living a fulfilled life. I think I'm more active than I was when during that period that my dialysis free period. I'm a youth director of my church. I'm a sub-director of community service. I volunteer at the food pantry. Um, Not only am I running, I'm volunteering, but I'm starting to take over the reins of the food pantry. That's going to require more of my time. I'm a advocate, patient consultant, and then I just started maybe 2 weeks ago. I started doing karate. So I am doing
It's amazing.
everything that I want to do, and I'm happy. And I'm not saying that I don't have my bad days, because I do. Even though that Tableau is, more gentler and I have more energy doing dialysis, but I'll deal with my bad days. And two, what I have found, that I have to accept my situation. I have kidney disease, so I have to accept whatever that what it comes with.
Hmm.
And that means if I have to sleep or not doing anything that day, then I do. Because I know that if I do listen to my body, then tomorrow is going to be a better day. But if I keep on pushing myself, I'm not going to be good for any of the responsibilities that I have, or even for myself. So it's very important for people to listen to their bodies, and just, sometimes you just got to give yourself a break, even when
Hmm.
you do have a healthy kidney.
So you said you do use a help of a nurse, right? Especially at the beginning for people who end up in a situation where the doctor tells them, "Hey, you have a problem with the kidney." How does this process work? Because I'm sure a lot of people are just not familiar with this medical process, and like, how do people go from diagnosing that there's a problem with the kidney to actually doing dialysis?
Okay. Just like um, high blood pressure. Okay, high blood pressure, you really don't have any signs and it just hits you. It's the same thing with kidney disease. It is a silent killer. It's 37 million people are walking around with kidney disease. Okay, 9 out of 10 people do not know that they have kidney disease. This is the reason why you need to educate yourself. Diabetes, high blood pressure, obesity, the abuse of over-the-counter drugs can cause you to have kidney disease. And if you don't take care of it, then you will end up doing dialysis and needing a transplant.
Hmm.
African Americans, we have a high percentage of high blood pressure and diabetes. 1 out of 4 African Americans are have high blood pressure. We are known to have, out of all of we comprise of 13% of the population, U.S. population, but 35% is on dialysis. That's
Wow.
those statistics astound me. We have to know when your doctor says that you have high blood pressure, you have to take that seriously. When the doctor says that you got to take control of your diabetes, you have to take it seriously because there's repercussions of if you don't. And a lot of people say, well, you know what, I have to take care of my family. I don't have time. But you know what? If you don't take care of yourself, you won't have time to do anything else because you're going to be going to dialysis at least 3 times a week. I do treatment Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays for
So
4 hours.
how long does it take for you to do treatment at home right now?
4 hours. It was originally 3.5 hours,
Hmm.
but I was telling my doctor that um, between Friday and Monday I was feeling tired because there's 2 days that I wasn't doing treatment. So he said, well, before we sorry, instead of giving you another treatment day of treatment, we will increase your time. And that made a world of difference. So I'm sorry, I just have to get the battery. So people have to take heed to they would have to take heed to their of their health and the signs in the early stage um of your kidney disease, you nausea, vomiting, loss of appetite, fatigue. If you're constantly tired, if you do have diabetes, if you are overweight, high blood pressure, if any of those items run in your family, if you are African American, if you're a Latino, Asian American, if you answer two of those or if you fit two of those criterias, you are at risk. Not saying that you have kidney disease,
Hmm.
you are at risk. So you need to talk to your doctor
Hmm.
because there's two simple tests that you can take. He will do a urine test and a blood test, and then that's going to determine your kidney function. And I always say, be in the know about your health. You know,
Absolutely,
get
absolutely.
just it just frustrates me because people are not taking their life seriously.
And a lot of those tests, they are basically covered by the insurance, so it really doesn't cost anything. Just go to your doctor. It's free, basically free. It's all covered on the annual health plan.
Right. And then sometimes you could, if, and I know there's some people who don't have insurance. They could go to a clinic. They could buy a pressure cuff. So they could check their blood pressure. They could
Hmm.
even go to like CVS and then take their blood pressure on a regular basis. And I remember when I was in Maryland years ago, I thought that my blood pressure was getting high. So I
Hmm.
didn't want to go to the hospital. Guess where I went? I went to a fire department and I asked them to take my blood pressure.
Hmm.
So, I mean, if there's a will, there's a way. You just
Absolutely.
have to find out, like, free healthcare. A lot of like the National Kidney Foundation,
Hmm.
and American Kidney Foundations, they have blood pressure drives. You find out when they have those, or go to the hospital and just say, you know what, I need to get my blood pressure checked.
Yeah, and also I periodically participate in the blood donations from Red Cross, like a local non-profits usually host some events, like religious institutions host some events where they would invite Red Cross to donate blood, and whenever people donate blood, they can also check their blood pressure as well. Again, it's free. They
Right,
will,
exactly.
and they will do the test of the blood. They will test for everything. I think right now they even test for COVID antibodies. So if somebody is interested to get free test and see if they already have a COVID antibody, they can just donate blood to Red Cross and get it done. Plus, get the blood
Right.
pressure
Yeah.
and some other biomarkers.
Right, right. And I didn't even think about that. So I have to put that in my tool of information and share that, so that that's a really good way and an inexpensive way of, finding out where you stand, that you do have to educate yourself. People do have options. I know it was an emergency dialysis for me. There's a lot of people. I know someone that kidney disease runs in their family. So she's an older woman, and she's preparing herself to start dialysis. So
Hmm.
either way, if it's an emergency or if and you plan into it, that's the best way anyway, to have it planned. But you know what? Sometimes life throws you lemons. So you just have to deal that. Um, Educate yourself as much as possible. Stay away from naysayers, because dialysis in center does kick your butt, and people think that that's the only options that they have. Again, you educate yourself and know that there are other options. There is home hemodialysis, where you cannulate yourself. Okay, and that's inserting the needles. There's two needles. Then there's PD, peritoneal dialysis, where the needle, not the needle, but you have an access in your stomach. They do a small surgery where you have like a catheter in your
Hmm.
stomach, and you could do that. There's also nocturnal dialysis, where you do it overnight, and they have centers that allows you to do that. And I believe they're starting to train people to do it at home.
Okay,
So
so
they are many, many options. And then two, what you have to do is, with any devastating news about your health, that you have to change the way you look at it. Because I could sit here and moan and
absolutely.
groan, but I choose not to, because life is too short. My husband in 2007, he went to work. He was on his way to work. He never came home. He was in a car accident.
Wow. Very,
So
very
now
sorry to hear that.
I have a choice. Excuse me, I'm sorry.
Very sorry to hear that about your husband. Yes, that's right.
Huh,
He
thank-
didn't have a choice, but that's what's so amazing about you is that you went through so much, and even after your husband was gone tragically, you had this problem with the kidney, and you had to do dialysis, and then you had essentially struggled to find a replacement, and then finally, after years of dialysis, you did somebody donated the kidney, and you were able
Mhm.
to have that kidney and kind of get your life back for 7 years, and now you're again on dialysis. So you went through so much, and yet you found the strength to move on. You found the strength to really rely on what you believe, and put your faith, and move forward. And you're an amazing person, and that you were able to overcome all these obstacles.
Yeah, yeah. I'm a true believer that God does not give you any more than what you can bear. And I didn't think that after my husband passed away and me finding out that I had stage renal failure, because the first 2 years of me being on dialysis, I was in a hospital for like 40 times for something. But he gave me the strength because I'm here, and I told you this before. I consider myself a bulldog, and I'm here to educate, to let people know that they have the strength to deal with what they have, and if they don't know that they have it, I'll be their pillar of strength until they gain it. I want to
Absolutely.
make them aware of their choices, to make aware of their kidney disease, know that they have options, and then hopefully once they're strong enough to stand on their own, then they could be somebody else's bulldog. So you move it forward. You keep on moving
Absolutely.
it forward until everybody is aware, because I failed to mention that kidney disease kills more people than breast cancer. People don't know
Yeah.
that. But yet, the only time that people mention anything about kidney disease is the month of March, and I believe in October. But it should be an
Hmm.
everyday thing,
Yeah. So
you
Tracy,
know.
can you tell us about the when person undergoes through dialysis, what actually happens? So the machine purifies the blood. What does actually happen to the blood while the patient is either doing it at home or doing it in center? And you already said it's a quite a long procedure. It's at least 3 to 4 hours
3 hours,
to get to this. So
right?
what actually happens with the blood? Does machine purify? Does machine remove certain things, certain toxins? What actually happens?
Right. I'm just gonna, if you just excuse me, I'm gonna get the filter. What happens is when I mention the word cannulation, that means that there's two needles that gets inserted into the fistula. One is the arterial, and the blood goes from you to the machine. There's a cartridge. I don't know if you can see it, but there's a
We
cartridge
do. We
that
see it.
goes here, and this is the filter, and it substitutes the kidney and has thousands and thousands of little filters. So the blood leaves your body through the needle or the bloodline, and it goes into the filter. It gets cleaned,
Hmm.
and then once it's cleaned, it goes back into your body. Not 100%. I forgot what the percentage was, but not all your blood is clean. I think it's like maybe 30%, and I don't know if
Hmm.
your audience could correct me, but
So
there is. Mm-hmm.
so is it the red blood cells that go, like, blood is uh, you know blood has a lot of components. So there are white blood cells, red blood cells. So what actually goes back, and what actually stays in the
Your entire
filter?
everything, Everything, all your blood goes into the filter. It gets clean. It removes all the waste.
Hmm.
And the water, there's some dialysis patients that we retain water because of the fact that even though that we urinate, we're still not expelling all of the water that collects in our body. So it
Hmm.
helps to remove the excess fluid because we get weighed in. um, the doctor determines what your dry weight is, and that is weight on you without the excess water. Okay, so
Hmm.
it may be like maybe 2 pounds that you may collect because of the fact that you're not releasing it. So then through your dialysis treatment, it removes the waste from your
Hmm.
body as well as the extra the fluid that's collected.
So the two
Since your kidney is not working properly, the machine removes the fluid from your body.
so 2 pounds of liquid that the patient retains, is it? So you said you're doing it 3 times a week. So it means roughly every 2 days, person gain 2 pounds of liquid, correct?
Possibly, but they may even be more, and they even can't even talk. They may even retain even more because if they don't watch their fluid intake,
Hmm.
if they don't watch their fluid intake, not only drinking but foods that have liquid like gravy. You know, if you have fruit cocktail, there's liquid, so we really have to be careful because of the fact that even though that I am at the end stage renal failure, I'm still um, urinating, and I really, for me personally, I don't have a fluid gap, not a gap. What
Hmm.
I'm trying to say, I don't have
Like
I
imbalance,
can drink
right?
as much fluid as I want at this particular moment, but that could change. I may
Hmm.
start collecting more fluid, so then I would really have to watch how much. But that's
Hmm.
me personally. So there's
So,
sometimes when I was on dialysis before,
mhm,
especially the weekend and the in the summertime, all you want to do is to drink, but you can't. So you learn how to sip and not gulp your water, to suck on ice chips. That helps. But
mhm.
sometimes you just drink more, and they have to take more fluid off. But that wreaks havoc on your body, and it's not a pleasant feeling sometimes when they have to take more off than usual.
So, what about the nutrition, especially let's say salad. Salad by weight, if you take vegetables, has a large percentage of it is water. Let's say roughly 80-85% of vegetable is essentially water. So, what happens when people eat, let's say, a little bit more salad? When they kind of heavy on vegetables, does that affect fluid retention?
And you know what? I don't think so, but that's something that should be asked by a medical doctor. But I don't think so. I don't recall.
How is your
Um,
experience with nutrition? I think this is one of the big topics, right? Because I think part of the problem with overweight, with diabetes, nutrition seems like it's one of those fundamental blocks of life where people kind of neglect what they eat, how they eat, and and their lifestyle in general. It kind of backfire on them. So in I personally believe that it may be tied up into this whole situation where just where people health decreases dramatically, and it decreases very fast to the point where, like in your case, you didn't even know you had a kidney disease. You were essentially had to go do emergency dialysis because you were even unaware of the situation. So, like, from your point of view, what is your nutrition now? How do you feel patients who have issues with kidney or suspect they may have issues with kidney should really address their nutrition? What would you recommend?
Well, from my experience and the dietitian educating me, we do people who have kidney disease, we do have to watch our intake on phosphorus and calcium. um, because since our kidneys are not working properly, we're not able to process certain foods the way we should. And if we eat those foods, like dairy products have a lot, is high in phosphorus, that could affect our bones. So we try to stay away from those foods that are high in phosphorus, even like tomato sauce, but we take binders that
Hmm.
prevents the phosphorus and our to go into our system, because we are not able to process it. So it's very important for you to have a good relationship with your dietitian, because sometimes if they do sit down with you once a month, once your blood work,
Hmm.
and just to make sure that you're within range. And then say if my phosphorus number is high, and just like, well, Tracey, are you taking your phosphorus binders like you're supposed to? And if I say yes, I may still be intaking more foods with high phosphorus. So that means that I have to stay away from those foods. Depending on what stage you are in the kidney disease, you have to watch your protein level. So you
Hmm.
have to have a good rapport with your dietitian. Let it not only be once a month when your blood work comes in. Communicate with them, and and
Hmm.
and there are a lot of kidney friendly recipes that people would enjoy, but they just gotta get over maybe not using the food products that they usually um, like to use. And then two, the salt intake. You have to be very careful, because foods with high sodium makes you thirsty. And then when you're thirsty, you want to drink. So you want to try to reduce your sodium intake. And
Hmm.
also, sodium increases your blood pressure.
Absolutely, yes.
Okay. So
So,
if you don't have, hmm
yeah, it sounds like people really should be careful with the blood pressure, right? So, like you said, reduce sodium, and also follow some other guidelines. You mentioned the binders. What are the binders? Is it medication? Is it supplement? Is it just kind of some type of food that helps to bind phosphorus?
no, it would be on medication that the doctor will prescribe,
I
and there's
see.
many out there. So he would prescribe the best phosphorus binder.
I see. Okay. So it really, people need to try different things and see what works better for them, correct?
Well,
It's
well,
in
yeah, along with their doctor, it's not something that they go and just like, I need phosphorus binder. The doctor's
absolutely,
automatically
yes.
going to tell them, that this is what you need, and then he'll
Mhm.
give you a prescription.
Yeah, and I didn't mention while you were talking, Mr. Belcher, Steve Belcher.
Oh
Some
yes,
people,
Steve, I know Steve.
yes, Steve made a comment. There are many, yeah, he made a number of
Yes,
comments.
he
There are many DaVita
right. He
dialysis clinics.
right. He is a big advocate. He is a he his life before his advocacy, he was a dialysis nurse. He's a big advocate on dialysis centers. There's a lot of DaVita's centers that are opening up next to Family Dollar. Family Dollar has nothing but processed foods.
I see.
So there's not, and then there might not even, there'll be a Family Dollar, but there is no supermarket. So where are the people going to get their fresh vegetables or whatever? They're going to go and get the processed foods, and then the processed foods, hypertension and diabetes.
Yeah,
So if
yeah,
they
it's
don't
like a
have
cycle.
diabetes,
It's a cycle which you very
exactly.
difficult to get out of that cycle. And really, what I've learned, like I experiment myself, especially when my wife was traveling, it was very convenient for me. I was able to really kind of look at, okay, what I want to cook. And what I've noticed is that a lot of people talk about like vitamins and supplements and nutrition, but very few really look for deficiencies, because really what we should be looking at, like, what is deficient in my nutrition, like what is
Hmm.
missing, based on USDA guidelines. USDA has a lot of data published on USDA.gov website. So what I've noticed is that people really should kind of stick with those guidelines and just understand what they are, and see what are the deficiencies. And but obviously with the kidney disease is a completely different ball game, because essentially a vital body organ is not working. So you have to come up with the solutions, like for example you mentioned the phosphorus binder, and I guess there may be
Hmm.
some calcium binder, right, and maybe some other binders that you need to kind of utilize in your use some of those tools in your toolbox to be able to be efficient and really keep up the like be at maximum productivity, right, so your body feels good. So, and Tracy, this the more we talk, the more I realize is that there's so much information on this. We haven't even started talking about the machine you're using. You said you love your Tammy.
Right,
We love you, Tammy. I'm sure we can kind of circle back and at least maybe you can do a quick overview of the machine, and you mentioned that you prefer that versus going in center because it's more gentle on your body, and you can
right,
kind of control how you proceed with it. So you can go a little
right.
bit faster, a little bit slower, a little bit longer. And interesting thing you mentioned is that you said by adding another half an hour of treatment at home, it made a gigantic difference in how you felt. Can you explain a little bit more why that extra half hour of treatment really made a big difference?
Because it's you're on the machine and it's cleaning the blood, it's cleaning your blood a little bit longer. And then probably if I allowed myself, the best probably schedule that I could do is alternate. One week will be Monday, Wednesday, Friday. The next week will be Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday. So I will only have one day in between
Hmm.
and not two between dialysis.
I see. So
So
so it's
I but
extremely important to purify the blood, right? So body really have that tremendous necessity to keep the blood clean, so the body can function at maximum ability, correct?
right, and then it, because you dialysis replaces the function of your kidney, because since your kidney is damaged, it substitute what a kidney does do, and that is to remove
The waste.
the waste, exactly, the waste, and then the fluids from your body.
Hmm. Yeah, that very interesting. And also, Steve Belcher mentioned that he would love to be on this show. So I was thinking maybe we could have three of us discuss this. Maybe we can have Steve Belcher. He is a registered nurse, so it would be a very interesting conversation to have you on the show with him, so he could ask you
Hmm.
questions from a health professional side, and you can ask him questions from a patient point of view. So
Right, right.
hopefully we can have some kind of a conversation like this. This will be very useful for people to see kind of dialogue between what patient think about dialysis versus what the health professionals think about the dialysis. So Tracy,
Okay, right. And then two, I'm
yeah,
sorry.
yeah, go ahead.
No, I was just going to share that, I just, I try to answer the questions to the best of my ability. And then my knowledge is limited, is only based on what my experience. So I think having Steve on, who is a registered nurse, will help probably give more information and maybe correct some of the things that I may have said. So people have a full perspective of a patient and then a dialysis nurse. So I think that that would be a really good pair.
So, Tracy, we had a very productive discussion. I'm very happy we had a chance to talk. And at the very, so I just want to conclude this our dialogue. Can you tell us a little bit more about Tammy and see, kind of introduce us why, you know, your point of view, why after so many years of on dialysis, you kind of stuck with Tammy and you felt like it suit your needs, specific your needs.
Right. Like we had a conversation before. I absolutely love Tammy. Um, and it's a choice. Some people may not choose that hemodialysis is for them, but to know what's out there. The reason why I love Tammy so much is because it's easy to use. It's 10 steps before you cannulate. Well, it's really 9 steps before you cannulate. One more step and then you're done. It takes about maybe a half hour because there's um uh, water testing that you have to do. It not only gives you a tutorial step by step, it also gives you a pictorial. So if you're a visual learner, you have everything. Like if you got confused, especially in the beginning, if it says the arterial line and you forgot what it is, because it is a lot of information, it shows
Mm,
you a picture of what the arterial line is. And when
mm,
there is an alarm, it actually tells you. You don't have to search and guess what it is. It tells you exactly what it is and what you need to do to fix it. To me, it's easier way to go. I don't have to think too much because Tammy thinks for me. And if I do anything wrong, it's going to beep. And it won't allow me to proceed until I correct the situation. And depending on the parameters that is set up, um, like for me, I need to fix a situation within 10 minutes before she would just say, you know what, treatment's going to stop. So 10 minutes, you may say, well, that's not enough time, but it's enough time for you to fix the machine.
mm.
Um, there is an 800 number. They're there from 7 o'clock in the morning, I believe. I'm not sure. I'll find out the next time, but until about maybe 8 o'clock at night. So if you have a problem, there's somebody's always there. I had a problem yesterday and I realized it, so I wanted to get it fixed because after this I have to do my treatment. Somebody came today. Somebody came today and he fixed the machine and I'm able to. That they're there, Johnny on the spot. You're not doing this by yourself, and they're truly our partners. And the thing I wanted to stress when you said that, like medical help, you have a care provider and my daughter's my care provider and she goes through the training as well, and we could go into details maybe
Mm.
the next show. But you're not able to do this by yourself. You have a care partner and they're able to help you as much as you need help. Like I'm very independent. I really don't ask my daughter for anything because I situate the chair so that I can reach everything that I need or possibly need is in arm's length. But there's other people who need assistance. I found out this one woman who started using Tableau in Michigan, and she pays. Somebody comes in and cannulates her. They
Mhm.
leave and they come back and they remove the needle because she's definitely afraid of the needles. And I was like, well, that's a good idea. You know what I mean? So if there's a will, there's a way, and I keep on stressing this, you have to know your options.
So, Tracy, tell us a little bit more. It seems, based on what you described, a community of color really has a high incidence of problems with kidney and facing kidney disease. So, do you think it's a lifestyle? Do you think it's a nutrition? Do you think it's a genetics, or do you think it's a combination of different factors?
I believe that the research that I have done talking to different people, that it's a combination. It is a lifestyle. It's what we eat. We are what we eat. So if you constantly are eating processed foods, if you're not eating fresh vegetables, you're eating sugar all day, um,
Or cakes?
what do you expect? You know
Yeah.
what I mean? That kidney disease will be inevitable, hypertension will be inevitable, and diabetes is going to be inevitable. So you just have to know better to do better.
Hmm.
And then, like I know Steve Belcher, he is an advocate. He does PSAs all the time about DaVita and Family Dollar within the same outlet centers.
Hmm.
Why is that? Because then when either people are walking in dialysis center with you know cakes and processed foods, or when they leave they're too tired, so it's convenient for them just to walk in and get something that they shouldn't have no business eating. And not only
Yeah, that's
because of the fact that
unfortunate.
they're dialysis,
Hmm.
but just overall that you find Family Dollars stores in the majority of African American communities. So they're going to go by convenience, and if they don't have transportation to get to a store, a supermarket, and a Family Dollar is there that has the milk, the eggs, the bacon, and everything else, they're going to do that. So they're going to bring that home to their families and eat a food. I mean, a meal that may be filling, but is it nutritional?
Yeah,
So it's
that's
like a generational thing.
yeah, it's difficult. Yeah, I agree. This nutritional aspects of like so some people may not have transportation. Some people maybe because of the income they just go to Family Dollar versus going like some other health store. So yeah, you uncovering so many different issues on so many different levels, and it's like almost impossible to fit it in into 1 hour of under 1 hour of conversation. So my last question is, what inspired you to help people? You actively involved with the church. You volunteer your time. You volunteer your time at the food pantry. You said you have a part-time job. What drives you forward? And I mean, obviously you're a very inspirational person to a lot of people, like after everything you went through with your husband passing away accidentally, with kidney failure, with the years and years of dialysis in center, out of center, and now finally at home. Like, what drives you, what motivates you to get up in the morning and to kind of push forward and uh, well, what would you say? I would say, let me frame it this way. What would you say people who kind of feeling giving up because they just feeling overwhelmed with all this, being tired and let's say doing dialysis in center, and then just like you said, like in you at the beginning, you were not able to do anything. You said you were either in the center doing dialysis or you were at home in bed. So what would you tell those people who feel like it's just overwhelming and they really cannot handle it, or they don't feel like they can handle it?
Right. And I get that because of the fact that I felt like that. Um, life's too short. And my mother always says, she always told me this, and she was like, baby lumps, she says, it's not going to be like this always. So you just take one day at a time. That, God does not want us to be miserable. So, situations happen, but, like I said before, He doesn't give us any more than we can chew, and we have to believe that, and just muster up enough energy to just one more minute, one more day. And there is going to be a better day. If I gave up, then I wouldn't be here. And I'm hoping that I can make a difference in somebody's life to say, you know what, she went through all of that, but yet she's doing this. You just gotta know that there's always a better tomorrow. And if
Absolutely.
to that day is not better than yesterday, then you say, you know what, it's going to be better the next day. You just have to have hope. That's what we live for. We live for hope, and that's what I want to give people. I just, when you were asking me the questions, I know what I want to say is not coming out fast enough. So I'm really hoping
You're
that,
actually amazing. Definitely don't say that, because you are amazing on the camera. You're an amazing person. You have amazing history, and definitely from a patient point of
mhm,
view, you overcame so many obstacles on many different levels, not just like physical obstacles. Like for example, you have to be present in center for dialysis, but also like emotional, right? You lost your husband, and then and then you went through, and then even transplant kidney failed right after 7 years of
right,
after
right,
7 years. So you went through so many different traumas, and yet you overcame it. You kind of pull yourself together. You relied on your spiritual beliefs. You used your faith to get you through those difficult days. So when finally the good days came, you were ready to enjoy the life. And like you said, you feeling yourself in a very good shape right now, and you found what works, right? So your Tammy is helping you. Your
right,
Tammy is
right.
your kind of right hand assistant now. Every
Right,
every
right.
every other
Yes,
day,
she
she's
is.
your right hand assistant, and we very I'm very happy that the years of trouble and turmoil and frustration and tired and feeling tired and feeling like the health was just not there. I'm very happy that you overcame all those obstacles, because a lot of people giving up even before they have that chance to experience that breakthrough, where
Right,
that good day comes in, and then finally they feel like, oh, I actually can live. I actually can have a productive life. I actually can feel good about myself and feel energy, and kind of move on with my life and
hmm,
enjoy it, even despite of these, you know, severe situations where, like people basically have to be close to the machine every other day to do dialysis. So I'm very proud of you. You accomplished a lot of things, and we would love to have you more often on Sierracast. And I know a lot of our viewers will be commenting and probably sending questions to you. And we'll look forward to have you and Steve Belcher on the show, so we could communicate and kind of go back and forth between patient point of view versus doctor's point of view or healthcare provider point of view, so
right,
we can have a good discussion for, like what doctors think people should be doing, and what patients think what doctors should be doing, right? Like
right,
you mentioned several things. For example, the TAMI allows you to kind of truncate number of steps, so you don't need to put too much effort into thinking what to do next. And like you said, after dialysis, it really kind of kick your butt. It puts you in a situation.
yes, it
it,
does.
it puts you in a situation where you feel weak, right? You feel like you really need rest, like
Hmm.
you really don't have that maybe even mental capacity to kind of go through hundreds of steps. So the Tami was one of the machines that did help you to kind of overcome that, let's call it a barrier, or overcome
Right,
situation where you just feel like it taking too much effort from you to even accomplish something. So
right,
we're very
right.
happy to have you. Thank you for being with us. And
Thank you for inviting me.
Yes, yes, we look forward to more interviews like this, more conversations. I would call it a dialogue. And we're very proud of your success. Very happy to see you happy, healthy, kicking and running. And you said you're doing karate. How does karate work? Like, that does it affect? Do you feel like it affect? like how does karate fits into your lifestyle? Is it like a 5 minute a day, or is it something more like a 30
No,
minute a day?
I go to the dojo. I did take karate before I was sick. My first bout of dialysis, I was up to a green belt. But then I got sick, so I wasn't able to do it anymore. And even though I loved it because of the fact that throwing kicks, well, as high as I can get, and throwing punches, it empowered me. I liked that. So even though that I wasn't really good at it, I liked it, and I was like, you know what, I want to do it again, and I want to show that you people have strength within themselves, and it's just little by little. So me doing karate is, just one, I enjoy doing it. It will help me, since I didn't lose my appetite the second bout. I'm afraid that I'm going to put on weight, so I'm using karate as just an exercise thing. So I go 2 times a week for 40 minutes. So it represents so many things to me, but I enjoy doing it, and I
And
want to
it's like
give
you get
back
your life
to.
back. It's like you get your life back, right?
Yeah, definitely.
Every time you get there, you feel like you're among this young. You feel young yourself again, isn't it?
Yeah, I really I enjoy it. I thrive on it. So I was just like, I wish I thought about this earlier. And another thing I want to do, I want to learn how to play drums. Don't ask me why. I just want to learn how to play drums. So if anybody's out there who wants to teach me, I'm ready.
Yeah,
So,
definitely. I'm sure you'll be able to find somebody who can give you a very good instruction. So Tracy, thank you for your time. We look forward to another interview. And Steve Belcher just replied back. He said he would love to join us. So I look forward to it. And good luck to you. Good luck with your nonprofit work, your charity work. You work at the church. You said you had a part-time job, and
mhm.
it's amazing to see a transformation from your first bout with the dialysis, where you really didn't have any energy, and now you're like a completely different person.
Right. I'm a new person, and then even the bald head just happened like maybe six months ago, so that gave me motivation too. So I think I involved in the person I am today with all the dialysis, me in and out of the hospital, and I'm happy and I live a fulfilled life, and I want people to know who's on dialysis, who are was informed that their kidneys are failing. You know what? Don't worry. Take one day at a time, and you could do this. Just educate yourself as much as possible. And people like me, people like Steve Belcher, and there's other kidney advocates are out there who's willing to give their all and give all the information they have so that you can live a better life. So
Absolutely,
I'm looking forward to the next show. And thank you very much for having me.
absolutely. Thank you. Happy to have you. Well, this was amazing. We look forward to another show with Tracy. After so many years of being patient on dialysis, she is like a she's a great resource from patient point of view to see what was her experience, what she went through, what equipment she used, how it affected her life, her nutrition, her new point of view on exercise, and how she just how different she sees life because she overcame so many obstacles. She definitely a great source for a lot of people who may not be in a position where she is today. Like she said, a lot of people go through dialysis and they don't feel like they have any strength or ability to do anything. So we look forward to another interview with Tracy, and thank you for joining us. It was a very, very back and forth dialogue, and was very informative. And I really hope you enjoyed it, and look forward to the next one. Thank you. Have a good day. Oh,